Okay, as I said, my presentation is going to be on patent information. And as such, I'm not representing my law firm or my company here, but I'm representing what's called the certification project team, which is a project team that has been established and has been working now for several years on establishing a kind of certification for patent information providers. In that respect, I would like to compare the establishment of patent information, whether it's used for filing of patents as a third party, as a prior art search, or whether it's used for FTOs, freedom to operate. I would like to compare it with the process of building a house, where first of all, of course, you have to identify and analyze the data which is available on the model of the house that you are going to build, the resources that you need for building the house, everything, if everything is in place, if there's a good time schedule, and so on. Then, of course, there are decisions to be made. Shall I take these tiles, or shall I get a wooden floor or a tile floor or whatever? And a strategy on how to build a house. And then, of course, the actual building has to take place. Well, something similar is also happening with patents. So you have these 3 steps of processing. And the strategic decisions that you make on how to achieve your goals, those are of course determined by the data and the analysis on the data that has been preceded that step. So basically, if the data is wrong, then also your process will be wrong. And that can get some disastrous results, as we have seen in many occasions. So again, building innovation, we have the same typical process, where in the end, of course, you want to have a patent protection and a strong patent protection. But before that, of course, you have to define how to go ahead. And that means that you need data to build on. Those data generally are provided by patent information professionals. And who are those people? Generally, those are patent searchers who work in either the patent department or in an attorney firm. But also, sometimes these people work in the R&D department or in libraries or patent offices. And also, there are people not bound to a certain firm or a certain company, but which are operating on themselves as outsourcing agents and freelancers. And I think I don't say anything which is not known if I say that in India a lot of the outsourcing companies are providing searches in this field. What should these searchers be up to? Basically, they should search, identify and evaluate patent documents, not only patents but also other scientific documents, for infringement, clearance, freedom to operate kind of decisions, for checking whether or not a patent is valid or an opposition need to be filed, for novelty, patentability, to inform people about the legal status of a patent, to make a picture of the landscape of a certain technology, what is patented, what is not patented, are there so-called white spaces or is something very densely covered already. All kind of information that can be that one can get from patents, they are able to extract that from the information and to provide reports on that. So it's quite a huge kind of task to do this. And as I said, if the information is not correct, then of course that will be disastrous. However, can one notice from the results of a search whether or not the search has been done properly? And that is very difficult, especially if you yourself are a person who is not really into what is the amount of data that has to be searched, how are the databases structured, and what kind of information can be extracted from that, then it's hard to have a kind of evaluation whether or not the search has been done correctly. And for that, it was realized at least already some 10 or 12 years ago that certification was needed to be able to have a kind of professional standard where you can trust people that they know what they are talking about. And also not only for the clients of those searches, but also for the searchers themselves, because that could be, having a certification could be seen as a kind of recognition and a kind of career confirmation, and also to have newcomers saying, well, that's something where I can put my teeth in. So by a number of patent information user groups, the US Patent Information User Group, the European Patent Information User Group, and the German Pharmadokumentationsgruppe, PDG, they sat together basically and said, well, we need to have some project. And the project was based on, was aimed at certain goals. One is what is needed what is the definition of a certified professional information specialist? What should that person need to know? How should he be able to conduct his searching? Further, there should be a kind of organization that would be able to issue those certificates. And of course, to judge whether or not persons would be able to be certified, there has to be an exam. And for an exam, you need to study and train. So also that aspect is covered in this certification project. And as I said, things already started a long time ago. In 2002, there was the first, more or less, meeting. And in 2009, those groups that I mentioned started the collaboration of the project. And in 2011, so already 5 years back, we had some mock exams held in different places in Europe and also in the United States. Those were evaluated, and in the process of evaluating, we were, the organization committee, the project team, was thinking about how to set up a body for doing this certification and how to set up all kinds of rules and articles on that. More or less, what has been provided yet is the following. There will be a certification body, and you don't have to remember the name, but the name for somebody who was qualified patent information professional will be a QPIP, and so this will be the International Standards Board for the QPIPs. There, an organizational structure is set out, and the duties and responsibilities are specified for the body and all the committees that fall under that. Sorry? Is something wrong?
Yes.
No, it's okay. I thought I heard something. But... Okay, there will be a supervisory council, but there will be committees under that. For instance, one is a disciplinary committee, like in the patent profession. If you have an organization of patent attorneys, also there will be a disciplinary committee. The same here. There will be an examination committee, which is responsible for drafting the exams and grading the exams. So there will be, it will be a complete organization. As I said, the exam, that's, I think, the pivotal part of the whole certification procedure. And basically, the goals of the exam is to validate the search skills so that you know that people who pass the exam are able to perform a good quality search and are able to identify the proper art that they have found. And also the validation of their analysis skills, because they not only have to identify the prior art, but they should also be able to analyze the prior art with respect to the goal for which the search is done. For instance, if they find prior art for an FTO search, that's only relevant if that's given, that if that prior art would give a right. A journal article found in an FTO search is of no use for analyzing whether or not somebody has freedom to operate. And also that means that not only the technical knowledge should be there in the field, but also a knowledge on the patent systems and laws, how to look at the technical documents that have been found. For that, basically, we have developed two kinds of explanations. One is a search paper, which consists of two parts: an opposition, validity or novelty search, and a patent infringement risk search. And there will be multiple technical areas to choose from. So chemical people will not be forced to search only mechanical inventions. And secondly, there will be an analysis paper where technology neutral cases dealing with opposition, validity, infringement will be given to the candidates, and they have to assess and analyze the provided documents as being relevant or not, and of course with arguments. And there will be some simple legal questions to test the basic legal knowledge. Like in any system that has to be developed, you cannot start from scratch. So there will be some kind of a grandfathering proposition. And the grandfathering is basically set up to have some critical mass to populate the certification organization, because we need people to draft the exams and to correct the exams and to be able to man those committees that we just saw. So that's something that is needed, and therefore we need grandfathers. Because of this new thing, we only are aiming at people from the United States and Europe only, because there the profession is more or less institutionalized already, and we know when people are applying for grandfather what they are able to achieve or not. So that may be seen as a kind of a egocentric kind of thing, but it was for us as a committee, as project team, the only way how to be able to judge the validity of the applications for grandfathering. And the applications for grandfathering will only be there for a short window. The QPEP title, so the title of Qualified Patent Information Professional, normally will be there via the exam or via the grandfathering rule. And for those, for that kind of, to be able to sit the exam or to be able to get this grandfathering, there are a lot of requirements that we have set. For instance, you have to have a technical degree, or at least 10 years work experience in some areas, technical areas. For the exam, you have to have at least 3 years practice with a big amount of searching. But for the grandfathering, the requirement is much higher, 10 years of practice. The exam, of course, you need to pass all papers. But for the grandfathering, there's also an obligation for you to take part in the whole organization. Further, the organization will also know continued professional development, to be able to people that they once certified, they will remain knowledgeable of all the aspects here. They need to have CPT points, and they can earn CPT points from certain activities that there are. There's a whole list of activities which can give points, and I just quickly skip through them because I think many of you know these kind of requirements from the patent profession. Patent attorneys and lawyers in general will also have this kind of continuous professional development requirements. There also will be needed, of course, training and education to be able to prepare for these certification exams. And for that, there will be a syllabus which sets out the required skills for the exam. And of course, there are already some existing courses, and they will be checked whether or not they would qualify for these, for preparing for these skills. How far are we? Basically, we are at the moment that more or less we can share the articles and rules to the community for comments and for fine-tuning, and then we can set up this whole organization. Then we will be able to finalize the first exams and finalize the whole setup, which means that the exams, that the certification can start probably in somewhere in 2018, 2019. And as I said, the professional title to look for is QPIP, Qualified Patent Information Professional. There is a website on this, qpip.org, which set out all the things that I just said, and also gives you more insight in the achievements thus far. And with this, I would like to end my presentation. And as I said, you have to have a nice basis to be able to build a structure, and patent information is essential for patent attorneys and people who need to judge patents.